Welcome back to NR Recap. Seth is shown at the starting of the movie who has awoke. Simply now he is neither a member of the family nor any pal. He used to serve in the animal managed department and he has intimacy with the same animals. His lifestyles become limited to move to work and go back again. Neither he had interest within the social existence nor in his personal life. While he's returning back to his residence after finishing up his paintings, then he encounters a girl at the bus. Seth goes to her and says hello, but that girl does no longer understand him at all. Seth calls her with the call Holly. He tells we had been studied in high college together, but Holly become not able to carry him into her mind. Holly has a diary she tells on the insistence of Seth. She each day writes her journal on it. Seth begins to experience for Holly on the identical even as, and he offers her to have a cup of espresso with him. However, Holly tells her she is a waitress in a restaurant and already has cherished. After sometimes Holly gets off the bus without hearing Seth. Absolutely reaching his terminal stated is dissatisfied on it. Attaining his house, he researches the records about Holly on social networking site and he gets her profile and he is going to animal control rental. Ordinary clever, he asks something to his co-employee safety defend named Nate. How can he provoke any lady? Nate famous be assured due to the fact girls mainly like the confident men. While talking, a physician asks him whilst calling to carry the shepherded dog named Lexi because it have been ill for a long time and intimated with Seth. Seth brings the dog to medical doctor and that physician is about to inject it with a poisonous substance. It has been ill for an extended time, growing the fee of the animal control department. Docs recommend SEF he can take it away if he needs. However, how could he appearance after it due to the fact he himself changed into reserve? Then medical doctor puts it into dying. Injecting it, Seth burns the canine's body. In the meantime, he observes the back room of the animal cage. There was a basement inside it. Observing it, he is amazed. Afterwards, he returns to his house and begins collecting facts. Approximately Holly he comes to recognize about Holly's restaurant by a net. Seth supposes seeing Holly's snapshots is what may be her liking or disliking. He notes it down in a notebook. Seth visits Holly's restaurant for lunch on the coming day. However, Holly once more makes use of to understand him, ignoring him. Even she isn't fascinated to recognize his call. In spite of this, Seth invitations her to a concert. Holly leaves from there getting livid. While returning to her residence at night, Holly senses as someone is chasing her. The chaser turned into Seth. Going lower back to residence, she well now shows the whole thing to her buddy Claire. In the meantime, a name of Holly's beloved is acquired by way of her. He's uttering something bizarre and drugged country. Holly disconnected his name and anger and starts to speak with her pal again. Subsequent day, Holly gets bouquet for her within the restaurant which might be dispatched by means of someone Holly thinks her liked. Eric can also have sent those plant life for her as an apology. She asks approximately it from him at night time, but he fairly declines it. Holly receives expertise on it. Those are really with the aid of Seth. Here Seth is located, who become once more chasing Holly. He once more asks Holly to accompany him. He discloses, I had sent the ones plant life in your eating place. Holly is were given indignant and her cherished beats Seth violently, leaving him injured. Seth receives the diary of Holly later, in which she used to jot down her magazine on the Each Day Foundation. Returning to his residence, he starts evolved analyzing the diary. Afterwards, greater information about Holly is revealed before him and a keys also disclosed about Holly. Next morning he is going to the basement. Entering the office taking information via net, he makes a metallic cage for that basement and he stealthily steals an injection to paralyze the animals from the hospital. Therefore, checking out that injection, he himself injects his frame. Consequently, he's paralyzed for a while. He once more pursues Holly at the approaching nighttime, who became transferring to her condo, but there is no one in her apartment. Seth injects her. Taking the benefit of it, he kidnaps her and brings into animal manage department. Last in the container, he locks Holly into his constructed metallic cage, taking her into that basement after at the same time as Holly unearths herself cage. Coming into the senses, her nail is ripped off. Whilst she tries to release herself, Holly shouts loudly. However, her voice can't journey out of doors because of the noise of animals and being caged inside the basement, and she or he stays there in the darkness of the entire nighttime. Next day, Seth is going for his paintings again, and he gives Holly a few suitable for eating things inside the lavatory seat for her needs. He makes her to run, don't forget his name, due to the fact she in no way attempted to understand his name. Then he leaves Holly for 2 or 3 days and he reveals Holly swoon. Whilst he is going to her, he makes her to drink water. Polly stops him while he's leaving after serving her meals, but he leaves no longer stopping himself. She turned into alone there and imagines her buddy Claire. She became not preferred to use the given toilet seat of Seth, but she needed to at the identical time a rat creeps close to her feet. At the beginning she is afraid, however later kills it while crushing. Right here Holly is noticed competitive. Subsequent day Holly asks if Seth arrives, do you need to kill me? Seth replies, no, I don't want to kill you, but it can be if time needs. He claims that he fell in love together with her at first sight. I have delivered you here for your protection, no longer to damage you. Seth leaves. After saying it, Nate observes him as he is coming out from the basement telling a lie. Seth leaves from there. Seth suggests Holly her diary whilst he comes once more to her on day after today, in which everything relevant to her turned into written. Seth asks approximately her buddy Claire. Holly says, I know nothing about her. Seth says, I had heard you talking along with her. Seth is afraid due to the fact men and women voices were coming from the cage. Even Holly became alone there. Seth asks her, is Claire simply here? Holly replies no, but she has the view of Claire at Seth's backside. Then Seth reveals the secret before her. There's no lifestyles of Lady Claire, but it is your false vision what you consider, and you are genuinely sick. Then Seth tells all info from the start. What she has written in her diary. Certainly Eric and Holly had engaged a few time ago, but Holly involves recognize approximately the affair between Eric and Claire through Eric's mobile. As a end result she drives the automobile rapid intentionally to meet the unintended outcomes, therefore each are wounded severely. However Holly pricks a chunk of glass into the eye of Claire, putting her dead. Holly tells Seth, I am an author within the written content in diaries based on fiction. Seth says to her, I additionally took them fiction, so I knew everything about Claire's death, going to the police station, chasing you for many time. I additionally knew which you are the purpose in the back of many deaths. She has stated all of them in her diary. She burnt many humans alive and many were killed at the same time as strangling. Seth tells her he has added her here so she won't damage everybody and additionally be included from the police and different humans pronouncing it. He leaves. Seth discovered a few changes in the attitude of Holly while he comes the following day. She become wiping her frame. Seth asks her approximately those murders, however Holly distracts him. She hits her head violently with the steel cage which leaves her wounded. Seth had no longer served her meals for many days. Seth refuses when Holly requests him the meal. Holly starts to enchant her the usage of well-mannered phrases. She says, I may additionally have fallen in love with you, being trapped by way of her wording. Seth is going to take fit to be eaten factor for her. Right here Nate again observes Seth popping out. He moves to basement. As Seth leaves he notices Holly locked in a metallic cage. Seeing him Holly starts a fevolve to invite assist from him. She requests him to break the lock of the cage, but the lock isn't damaged by using Nate, and Seth arrives there on the same time. Contrarily Holly says to Seth to kill Nate. She asks him kill him with the rock that is located nearby. As a end result Nate's head is smashed because Seth does the identical. He additionally dies there. Now Seth become also an assassin like Holly. Then she guides him that how he can dispose the useless frame at an area so the police may additionally not seize you. Seth eliminates his fingerprints and take out all the teeth so Nate won't be diagnosed at any value. Then he cuts his useless body into small pieces and serves them to the dogs. There for 2 days law enforcement officials start searching for missing Nate. Seth additionally comes below research and is suspected by using the police. Cops say they may maintain an eye fixed over him. Seth is afraid. Holly begins the verbal exchange of affection with him again. She says to him, you don't love me, you could not keep me sure in case you are in love with me. She needs his finger as evidence. Hearing it Seth is left astonished. She says, you handiest foe. Seth is again entrapped in her wording and cuts his finger, suffering a whole lot ache. Taking a thread Holly begins to cut her throat. Whilst taking his knife she threatens Seth she will dedicate suicide if he does now not permit him to move. Being enchanted of her wording Seth unlocks the cage door and he or she begins to shower her loving words on him. Coming outside Holly has fallen in love with Seth. He believes Holly on the other hand cuts his throat along with his knife and flees the scene. After a time Holly is seen with Eric. Furthermore her fiction had additionally been published, however Eric was still dishonest her. At some point Holly is going to a house popping out from her condo where the filthy and mysterious character become caged whose one finger became cut off. This man changed into nobody but Seth. It turned into tough to understand him due to his worst circumstance. The quit. Subscribe if you need more motion pictures like this. Bye.